2005, and then what was his track record for the period of time that he's been in office since that point in time. He was ahead on virtually every statistic up to 2 months ago. Now he's behind on virtually every statistic. GDP growth, headline inflation, real wage growth, unemployment. I could go on. Okay, the short-term deficit's about flat because tariffs were ruled unconstitutional. Consumer confidence is worse. The structural deficit is worse. He's got a problem.
So he's behind on all metrics, is what you're saying.
Well, virtually all metrics. Okay,
virtually all metrics.
He's a little bit better he's on the trade deficit. All right, he's better on that, and that's because of tariffs. He is a little bit better on the stock market, although I don't know what's happening today. Obviously, Friday was a disaster, that's it. Most everything else, he's worse.
We'll bring in our panel because our panel, as you know, is Trump lovers, so we'll bring them in and see what they have to say. We'll bring in Sasha Starr from Canada, Steve Rao, who's behind the scenes in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, and Mark Lee also is in Raleigh, North Carolina. Steve, you saw what David Walker is saying. Trump's behind almost on all metrics now. GDP, inflation, unemployment. What do you have to say about this, Steve?
Well, what I would have to say about it, and it's always great to see David Walker, is, sorry I'm not dressed up today, just one of those days, but, I tell you, I think it's a perfect example of, Trump reminds me, I've had a career in sales, even though I have a law background, and it's like the salesman going into the CEO and arguing, that you've had a good quarter when you have nothing in the pipeline. Nothing's going well, but the best snake oil salesman can come in there and scrub the pipeline and make it look good. And that is Donald J. Trump. I mean, he's such a con artist. No matter how bad it gets, the one thing we can learn from him is he's able to spin it into a positive, and a lot of people believe his lies or mistruths. So I think what David Walker is saying, though, it does give an opportunity for the Democrats to come in and talk about this. But, so much of the Democratic Party, in my opinion, they're not talking about these issues. And that's a conversation for another time. But when you turn on it, and every time I turn on the news network and I see, mentions of, I like Bashir. I personally like Bashir, or one of the more moderates, but you see AOC in the mix for president of the United States in 2 years. Bernie Sanders still giving a look at it. Kamala Harris still giving a look at it. I think they're just going to punt the presidency to the Republicans, regardless of who they put out there, whether it's Rubio or J.D. Vance. So that's my take on it. Now I can speak more freely that I'm no longer in office and most likely going to be an independent in another month. But anyway, that's where I stand on it.
Well, let's also talk for a second about Iran. Iran is dragging out way too long. And now there have been kinetic activity between Iran and Israel in the last 24 hours. I think, the bottom line is that I doubt that we're going to be able to reach an agreement with Iran without more kinetic action. I think we're going to have to go back in, hit them hard. My personal view is we ought to take out Karg Island, not invade Karg Island, take it out. You can take it out with missiles and air attacks, and then see if they come to the table. But in the end, I think what's going to happen is we're going to have to do all the damage that we can do militarily, economically to them, and then the countries that are dependent upon energy from that part of the world are going to have to end up assuming more responsibility for passage through the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay, well, on to our friends in Canada.
Well, I think this issue is very simple. The money talks and bullshit walks. So what's happened with Trump? He's spending $1 billion a day on his war with Iran. So Iran said very explicitly, give us $12 billion and the issue is done and closed and everything is signed and everybody goes its merry way. It's not a problem for Trump to pay $12 billion. It's optics of United States paying $12 billion directly to Iran. It's like a reparation money. It's like admission of guilt and trying to pay it out. So he is looking for all kind of vehicles to do that. One of them is creation of $300 billion fund, which will do a lot of wonderful things. One of them very quietly to pay Iran $12 billion, because when you have $300 billion fund, you don't notice $12 billion expense. But who is providing money for $300 billion fund? Oh, it has to be Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, and so on and on. And now, since they realized that United States cannot defend their interest, they cannot defend even their own military bases. So they're not going to provide even $1 for this $300 billion fund. So therefore, there is impossibility to pay Iran this bloody $12 billion. Just pay it. Stop talking. Just pay the freaking money. And here's a piece. Here's a you sign everything or so on.
Rick, do me a favor and look up real quick on AI. My understanding there's well more than $12 billion of Iranian money that's frozen. And my understanding is what people are talking about is when and under what circumstances would the frozen Iranian money be released so that they can access it, rather than paying some.
It's way more than that, according to AI.
Right.
Iran has an estimated $100 to $120 billion in assets frozen globally.
Okay.
I'm not arguing with these numbers. All I'm saying is that Iran asked to pay immediately, or release rather, I don't know what they're talking about, release or pay $12 billion now. It doesn't mean that Iran will not get the rest of the money.
Yeah.
Obviously, it will happen later. But now, $12 billion. No money, no peace, no agreements, nothing. And Iran is playing a very hard bargain. And Americans have to learn how to negotiate with Iran, because to send another expedition force is even worse, because then American lives will be lost.
But David, let me ask David one more question.
My only point is, this is not U.S. money. This is Iranian money.
Exactly.
We're not giving them a plug nickel. Steve, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Did you watch Kristen Welker's interview with the president yesterday?
Did I watch what?
Kristen Welker's interview with the president?
No, I saw excerpts of it, and it was embarrassing on both sides, I thought, but particularly the president. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, he's saying the opposite. He's not even talking about this with Iran. He's just saying it's been a short war. It's a real victory, and it's pulverized their. I mean, it just, I don't know. I guess everything he's saying is not accurate. And
militarily, it has been successful. Okay, there's no question. But that's not the only thing. Most Americans don't give a hoot about foreign policy. Most Americans don't want some protracted military conflict, whether you call it a war or not. Most Americans care about domestic issues. Most Americans care about the economy. And most Americans care about their pocketbook more than anything else. And on that basis, it's not a win. It might be a win militarily, but it's not a win, from the standpoint of what most Americans care about. And that's why he's got to wrap this thing up one way or the other.
This is the beginning of week 11 of the national average for gas being above $4 a gallon.
I paid $3.99 9/10 this morning. Oh, no, I didn't. I bought premium, so I paid more. I paid 80 cents more. And you're in California. Oh my God. I mean,
Yeah, we're at, I can still get gas for like $5.89 at our local place.
But that's regular.
Yeah. But we're used to getting screwed on oil prices. And
yeah, but why is
$2? We pay $2 a gallon more than the rest of the country. One is worth it because $1 goes to making cleaner gas, so we have decent quality air. In the 1970s, LA had the worst air in the country. The other dollar just is just us getting ripped off by the refiners.
Yeah.
Yeah, but David, why do Americans care so much about the gas pump today when there's some serious issues out there that we're discussing? And one of them is this: 25% of your income taxes are used to collect just to pay the national debt to Social Security trust. Are we that short-sighted?
Yes,
that
because
all
we
we
get a
believe
weekly report
is our
card.
stupid
You get a
gas
weekly-
prices? You
so-
cannot be serious.
No,
In the
but
meantime, China is eating our lunch. I mean, the thing is, China is building for the future. China has faster trains. They're buying our best airplanes, better internet service, better manufacturing, better everything. So as China becomes the number one country, we're worried about our stupid gas prices.
we know that half of
Are
all
you
voters
kidding me?
don't pay attention. But and it, not their fault. People work hard. They might be caring for an elderly, a parent. They don't have time to go into foreign policy. But every week, every time they go to the grocery or go to the gas pump, they get a report card on how the economy is doing. And so that's what they pay attention to.
Yeah, but Jatovi said something, because downstairs where I live, there's an EV station. There's a bunch of cars in Spain. They're all getting their EV. But Jatovi said something that was brilliant. You know what the Chinese are doing? You don't have to wait for the EV station. You drive your car in, they swap batteries, and you're out the door.
Yeah,
Okay, and I'm sitting there going like, I'm stunned. I'm going like, you've got to be kidding me. And you know what also they do in Spain? You're worried about your food prices. Our greenhouse is big as 7 Manhattans that keep our food prices down so low. When I came back to the U.S., came back to Spain, I will spend more going out to dinner one day in the United States than I will all week here in Spain. The food prices are nothing. I go, how do they do it? Go look on the internet. The greenhouses they have in Extremadura and the southern part of Spain, it's the only thing you can see from space, not the Great Wall of China. The greenhouses are so big, they're 7 Manhattans. So they produce food like crazy. So they keep the food prices, you go out to eat $6, for a party of 2. Seriously. Over there, US, 60. I mean, why isn't the US take a look what's going around the world where places are better than us, not even close, and just adopt their methodology? That would give you much more than, I'm worried my gas prices went up 10 cents.
Well,
Who gives a rat's rear? You guys are way far behind the rest of the world, and you're continuing going behind the rest of the world. I'm enjoying my time here in Spain. I'm also going to get another place in Scotland. So I have 2 places. Eventually, I get a place in the U.S., David. I'm going to get one in Washington as time goes by. But it just bothers the bejeebers out of me.
I'll be on next week. I just want to say hi to everybody. Great, David. It's great to see you. And
yeah, good to see you. Take care.
I'll be back next week.
Take
Okay,
care.
Steve.
As I've said many times before, Nick, the United States does not learn from history. The United States does not learn from others. The United States has no plan. No plan. China does. They're executing on it. And now China's got problems. China's got worse demographic problems than we do. They actually have a declining population now. But guess what? Our birth rate is so low now. It's 1.58 per female. It takes 2.1 in order to sustain your population. That by 2030, we are going to have a declining population unless we resolve our immigration issue. That's the only reason this country grows, is because of immigration. But there's a big difference between legal and illegal immigration. And we need to change our immigration policies, which many industrialized countries already have, where it focuses on the economic needs of the country while still providing some asylum for people who've faced persecution, in their respective countries.
Yeah, Jatovia has joined us, and
Be
maybe
safe.
can tell us a little bit about those EVs, EV development in China, because I was very impressed. I thought swapping batteries out, even though it should be obvious, is brilliant. Because downstairs we have EV stations, all the cars are being charged. But I was thinking swapping out is brilliant. But tell us, Jatovia, about China's development in the EV market. It looks like we're getting our pants beaten off, and we don't even know it. We're asleep at the
We're
wheel.
also the biggest producer of batteries, it's my understanding.
Yeah, we're at about a 10-cent gas increase when China is eating our lunch and breakfast and dinner, So I'm putting Jatovia on the spot. He's got a whole spiel on this.
Okay.
He's got a whole spiel on EVs. Man.
Well, I mean, it's because I'm a big nerd, so I like tech stuff and the cool, like even space stuff, all the technology out there, and even deep sea stuff, cool stuff. But I'm a big nerd around that. But yeah, I mean, with the so what China did, they invested a ton of money into their EV infrastructure. That was the first thing they did. They really, honestly, I think I shared with you last time the YouTube video, and you saw they put their priorities. Okay, we're going to make this EV market something. So they invested within their people. Okay, you buy an EV, we're going to give you money to buy an EV. So they got the EVs out there. Sure, again, with the EV, in doing that, they then invested in the infrastructure. So if you're looking at like way back years in our history, just as I was talking about earlier, is that in our history, a lot of our financial markets, everything, all of our industry was, propped up by cars. Once cars hit, that technology was huge. That, with Chevy, with Ford, with Cadillac, all the other stuff, the GMs, that was where we took off, and a lot of that technology sold across the globe. Well, then other companies started coming in, and we started doing the whole protectionist world and not really innovating as we used to. We fought on that protection side rather than the technological advancement side. So what China is doing is actually what we did when we first initially started the whole car market way back when. It's all about the whole technological piece. So when they invested in their people, they then invested in their infrastructure. Just like with gas stations everywhere across the US, they had EV stations basically across China. They've created EV stations where you're swapping out the battery because they've increased their technology around EVs, because putting that money there, that made it a very attractable thing for people to get. And once they got them, then okay, now you're just like our capitalist society. We want to push out those bad actors. That's what ended up happening over in China as well, because you had some individuals jumping in just for that money because, hey, we got these promises. They never did. So the country not only pushed those companies out, but also the individuals not buying those EVs. But what they did, they found out, okay, well, if you make all of the pieces in-house, kind of like what Apple did, you create your own ecosystem. Tesla was the pioneer of this, but Tesla even fell behind because right now the number one EV maker is BYD, not Tesla. And so when they started innovating and really making everything in-house, when you're buying a Ford, you're buying that Ford engine, not the Ford calipers, not the Ford braking system, not the Ford air conditioner unit. You're buying the Ford engine, that technology there. What the EV market did with Tesla, again, being the innovator around this, and what China ran with is, hey, you make everything in-house. All that technology talks to everything. So when you make updates around that technology is easy to update. Then on top of that, it's cheaper to build because it's all in-house. You're creating your own ecosystem around it. So one of the phone makers that we all know, Xiaomi is making cars in that same fashion. So now when you take your car if you have a Xiaomi phone in China, take that phone, put it in, and use that as actually your navigation system. You turn on your car and everything runs basically virtually from your car. It's just the technology that they invested in. They focused on, okay, this is the future of where we're going. That future technology is where we're putting all of our money. Hence the reason why the Strait of Hormuz isn't really hurting China as much, because they invested so much in that EV technology and the renewable use. They have the largest solar panel station out there in China. So you have all this investment in technology and that forefront thinking of, okay, if we put our money here, people are going to come here. And right now it's bearing out to be true because the EV market right now is, yes, it's not as big as what's happening in the US with the cars, with the internal combustion engines. But the EV market is growing quickly and very quickly because of the actual technologies that are inside the car, because you're building that experience for the people, not the, hey, you can drive really fast on this car, even though EV cars are faster than regular combustion cars now.
So China has
high-speed rail. Go ahead, Rick.
Yep,
China has 1 to 2
Magnetic
million acres of solar panels, which equals several thousand square miles, which is as big as, it's like Rhode Island entirely covered with solar panels.
That's an idea.
But that's what they've utilized though, is, I think their power, I can't remember how many cities they're powering in China based off of that. But yes, that's huge right now.
But China has 150 cities that have more than 1 million people. And these are all manufacturing cities with citizens who over the last 20 years have been moved off the farms and into cities. Now, China is a dictatorship. Mm-hmm. It's an entrepreneurial dictatorship. You can still get lots of trouble with the government for doing and saying, but they want to dominate the world.
So it's like the U.S. then.
And technologically wise, they are starting to do that because they've invested so much in that area. We've fallen behind. And why I say the EV market is the canary in the coal mine. If you look at the technology in these cars in comparison to the best cars that we have right now, it is just unfair. Because you've got cars that literally over in China are the way that the autonomous technology is set up is just phenomenal.
Sasha's had his hand
I'd
up.
like to tell you something, Joto, to your presentation, to add something. The first electric cars from China started to arrive to Canada. And what do you think are these first cars that are arriving? They are Tesla produced in China, and they cannot sell them in China. So they mark them down to like $29,000, $30,000 a piece, where normally you could not get Tesla for less than $55,000, $60,000. So now Tesla competes against itself here in Canada. You have Tesla available from US for $60,000 some dollars, and you have Tesla available from China for $30,000. Pick up your Tesla.
And that's the funny thing.
That's
if you
hilarious.
Look at the cars that are coming out of China, like you can get a 100,000. If you look at it, there's Zeekr is another one. XEEKR, I think it is. I think that's how it's spelled. They've got you can get a BMW, $120,000 BMW, top of the line, or you can get a Zeekr for $60,000 that has everything plus. And that's where that whole EV technology is taking off. Because like I say, you can look on the inside of some of the stuff. Like, honestly, Sasha, if I remember, I think BYD should be coming to China. I think Zeekr might be coming. And Xiaomi might be coming. The Xiaomi car is sweet. But they focused so much on this experience side, and it's just you stop the car and it shows you, okay, now you're at a crosswalk, telling people, okay, you can walk. They've got the lighting technology. They've got one, Sasha, you got to get it. They've got one that's coming that I think it's out in China right now, but if it snows on top of it, the car shakes off the snow.
Well, the price range of Chinese cars coming to Canada is between $30,000 and $144,000. So there is a wide range of all kinds of cars are coming to Canada, and that's very helpful because there is upcoming negotiations with Trump about this Canada, U.S., Mexico pact, and I don't see it as a great exercise for Canada. I think it will be just a waste of time. And I think Canada has to completely decouple from the United States. There is China, there is Europe, there is so much ongoing in the world. Why Canada needs to adjust itself to all the American demands and caprices and so on. That's not the way to do it.
So you can get an entry level EV in China for $6,000, and a standard compact model might run you $10,000. The cheapest EV in the U.S. is the Chevy Bolt at $29,000.
Wow.
Oh,
Coming back to where we started, net interest is 31% of total income taxes. When I say that means corporate and individual income taxes. So almost a third of all income taxes go towards paying interest.
Hey, David, I know you only gave us like 45 minutes, so just a quick question. Do you think that some of these corporations will do deferred credit and all along those lines to get us into things like EVs and even wind power? Because I know that even here in North Carolina, there's an area where there's a lot of wind-powered research. I think it's down there toward like the Fayetteville area, if my memory is serving me correctly, and everything like that. But do you think that we'll be seeing more of this kind of investment where there is deferred kind of like government credits in order to have the research going on our side?
Well, the government has provided, tax preferences with regard to EV vehicles. I mean, they've cut back on some of them recently. They have provided, tax incentives also with regard to alternative energy sources. Some of them have worked out. Others of them have been total boondoggle, if you will. And that's how they're likely to do it. They're likely to do it through the tax code rather than direct investment. Although Trump has been unusual in that he's talked about direct investment with some private sector companies, which is contrary to how Republicans normally think.
But David, if all the money that we collect on tax revenues are going to pay interest on the debt, how can we use any of our tax revenues to increase investments in the United States?
Well, we spend too much on consumption, not enough on investment. And the reason that I have to leave in 1 minute is because I'm going down to talk to a gentleman by the name of Grover Norquist, who's head of Americans for Tax Reform. I'm in the process of trying to meet with some of the key players in order to try to get some movement on a fiscal commission, on the need for a constitutional amendment. I've already met with the AARP. I've met with the AFL-CIO. I'm meeting with the Americans for Tax Reform. They're probably the big three. I mean, there are other key players in town, but they're probably the big three.
Okay.
And Wolf, I thought you were going to buy tickets to the UFC fight. That's what I thought you were doing.
Listen, I'm all for having a UFC fight, not on the White House grounds.
I agree.
Well, $1,000 a ticket. I'll keep my $1,000.
Hopefully it'll be on TV. I won't need to.
Okay,
I'll record the Knicks tonight.
Okay. All right.
Y'all take care. I gotta go.
Okay, we'll see you, David. All right. And with David leaving, we're going to bring in the Honorable Sharif Rana from Bangladesh. I don't know if he's heard this interesting conversation, but a couple items that have come up is net interest. This is the United States. You don't have to worry about Bangladesh doing this stupid thing. We're spending 31% of our income taxes just to pay interest on the debt. Okay, which is not good, by the way, Dr. Sharif. Imagine you collected $100,000 in revenue and you spend $30,000 just to pay interest. That's not good. But that's the U.S. position right now. Now, the other thing is, this is very interesting, which Jacoby brought up, which China in the EV market. China has developed some really good technology. And of course, the U.S. is banning them, not letting them bring into the U.S. because, of course, that would destroy Tesla. But has the Chinese EVs hit Bangladesh? Have you started seeing this infiltration of China's manufacturing in terms of electronic vehicles coming into Bangladesh?
Yeah, China Belt and Road Initiative and all of the technologies and other things moving very fast. told you, even China's education system, they're heavily inviting Bangladeshi talented through China Belt and Road Initiative in China. Secondly, Chinese many corporations, they are coming to Bangladesh and they are investing. EV is one of the very important technologies they are deploying in Bangladesh. Not only even Bangladesh, I think the China, they are deploying even in India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, even Malaysia, Singapore, and Japan, and so on. China, they are very focusing with their business strategy, deploying these innovations and so on. On the other hand, USA technologies and other things has demand, and definitely USA can play a very important role. That's why I always welcome US people in Bangladesh. Let's say Nick Palveda, you are American businessman. Our cultural ministry, uh, definitely he's my uncle as well as he's a fellow of uh, World Talent Economic Forum. They're looking how they can work with global media, how they can work with this Hollywood. Okay, so you can consult them. Port TV can collaborate with cultural ministry in Bangladesh. He's my uncle. I just finished my meeting with the minister and come to this show. So this is the way business actually in different format you can get, right. Someone can sell cheap technology, someone can share cheap labors. On the other hand, USA has a lot of good things like your Hollywood, your Port TV, your movies, and so on. So we can invite you all in Bangladesh. And another things like the American businessmen, they can invest like Chinese corporations in Bangladesh. You can get 25 years of tax exemptions. You can get all of the local financial institutions, specifically Islamic finance and microfinance is very, very powerful in emerging economy in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, and so on. So you can utilize it. So why only China? Why don't you? You should come to Bangladesh, right? You should. It's not like discussions. You can come with your Port TV in Bangladesh, right? You can invite Bangladeshi investment. You can share your knowledge. You can help Bangladesh to create branding in the global arena, and that will be a win-win situation for Bangladesh and Port TV.
Sounds very, very inviting. So you actually had a good meeting then, Dr. Sharif, it sounds like. You had a good meeting?
Yes, I have a very good meeting. I told you the ministers, I already promote your Port TVs and so on. So minister
Right.
identify that there is a framework we can work. Maybe we can do conference, we can do
Okay.
shows.
Yeah.
We can organize even Bangladesh. Rick says that Bangladesh can provide tax exemptions and so on. We can build a policy. Hollywood people come to Bangladesh to get the new market. Port TV can come to Bangladesh to get the new market. It's a huge opportunity, right? USA has a lot of competitions. If you go to China, it's almost impossible to go with your media. But you have a big room in Bangladesh, right? Uh, the Bengali community, it has a 300 million people. So Bangladeshi ministers, the cultural ministers, Ali Naz
Right.
Mohammed, they invite you all, and they are big fan of our podcast and so on. So yeah, why only China? Why don't you? Let's take
Well, that's a good question. Does China come to Bangladesh? That's my question. Do you have people from China going over to Bangladesh?
Yes,
You do?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
All right.
they come. But it's
Okay.
open country, right? It's for everyone.
Well,
And-
can I buy a place there? Can I, as an American citizen,
Sure.
can I buy real estate there?
Sure, you can
I like
you
to
can
buy
you can
stuff.
buy real estate. Even you can own 100% your own company, own land.
Oh, really?
You can be the
Okay.
owner of 100%.
All right.
We have that kind of policy, and it's
Okay.
cheap, right? It's everything
Well,
cheap.
I know. Compared to U.S. prices, I mean, U.S. I'm just hammering on because it's so expensive over there relative to the rest of the world.
Hey,
You know.
Dr. Sharif, just
People
really
are,
quickly, how much does a apartment cost in Bangladesh and everything like that? So I know in the U.S.
I'll look it up.
rents are like 1,000 and stuff like that, but how much is an apartment cost in Bangladesh for one of your students?
It's depend on exclusivity. With $100,000, you can get a very lucrative apartment. Very lucrative. And as it's a highly density populated country, its price always go up. Even you can get uh, even you can get like 5 times return and so on in 5 years because of highly density populated country. Our real estate price always goes up. So it's a good destination. So you can utilize it. And Jatovi, if you're frustrated about America, come to Bangladesh. I'm with you. I'm waiting for you.
I
Utilize
would love to come
Bangladesh.
out there. I come at you, Doc. One of these days, I am coming to visit you. That's my goal. That's on my bucket list. I got to
Yes,
do it.
we are organizing conference. I will invite Sasha, Rick, Nick, Marks, Jatovis, and all of the Port TV's people. And our Prime Minister will be there. Our ministers, our all of the corporations and government agency, all of the media, they will be there. You can create a very good business relationship and so on. So it can be global North and global South relationship, right? Business
Oh,
relationship.
when is the conference? Have you set a date yet or anything for this conference?
Actually, we are planning for the November and December.
November,
Because
December. Those are good
definitely,
months. Oh, let me
yeah.
know, because
So
those are actually good months for me. Okay.
yeah, sure,
So,
sure. Actually, our cultural minister invite you all in Bangladesh.
right.
I'm sure you will enjoy. You will enjoy the trip with all of the culturals and all of the activities. And Bangladesh is
Yeah.
a very good place for investment. What China is doing and getting
Yeah.
return.
I just
Japan
got to
is doing.
figure.
Japan is a
I'm looking at your real estate prices now. The problem is I got to translate what the dollar to the baht is, whatever your currency is.
yes,
BDT.
$100,000 is a big amount of money.
Well, that's
So-
U.S. dollars. I need to know what it is in Bangladeshi money.
Yes.
Because it's all in
Yeah.
Bangladesh. It's
I did.
BDT.
I did want to share this real quick before, because I know Sasha, you'd said that in the cars were going for. You said that you were getting 30 to 100, 140.
144, yeah.
All right, I got one for you. I'm gonna show you. I got to show you this, Sasha, because this is all you. This car here.
Can you put it on the screen so we can share it?
There we go, right there. This is Sasha all day.
Oh wow. Does she come with it?
Oh, wow.
Like
Okay.
I said, the technology that they're putting in these cars. This tops out at 141.
副驾座椅正在折叠，请注意前后人员物品安全。零重力座椅正在展开，请注意前后排人员安全
I。mean, the footrest. This is all you, Sasha. I'm next time when I come visit you in Canada, Sasha, we got to ride in this.
So that's top of the line of cars that are coming to Canada. And this is
Yep.
incredibly high. Agree.
141,000.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the
Like,
service.
it was on vodka.
Little table. I think they said 43 speakers. So Sasha, let me know when you get the car because I want to come to ride.
Well, that's a real car. What can I say? Fantastic.
But that's
It's
what I'm
a whole
saying. The
lot
technology and the
easier.
stuff that they're putting in China and these.
So is it all self-driving, Jacoby?
I mean, it has
What
the whole
happened to
LiDAR
David?
system in it. So yeah, they can
Oh,
do
he had to leave. He's
They can
meeting
do this.
somebody.
He had to go
in
buy a
Washington,
car.
D.C. No, he already bought a car.
Yeah,
He bought a
yeah.
Mercedes,
Yeah, he did. He did.
You know.
You
So
know,
he didn't know that.
I guess that's an interesting investment there. I don't consider vehicles investments, but some of the ones you can actually live in. Like I was watching one yesterday where things kind of push out, pop out, and you got a whole bigger living room than just an RV. So yeah, but yeah, that's an interesting car. Very interesting.
I mean,
anyone here want to buy it?
Sasha's thinking about buying one. I think you can buy it in Canada, but not in the United States. So that's the problem.
Yep.
They're protecting Tesla
and honestly,
here. So.
if you don't want to spend that 140,000, Sasha, here you go. This one's only 38,000.
There we go. That's an American price.
Well, you know,
Oh my
correct me if I'm wrong, but in North Carolina, they kind of
This is a
banned Tesla for
$38,000
a
minivan
while.
coming out of China. This video is brought to you by SPXcars.com because it's a very cool vehicle. Take a look at the sunroof. Huge. Now, this is a lounge. The chair can rotate. But what's also cool is if I want to drive, I press where I can drive in, right? Now, that door slides open. But this one, if I want to open it, is actually a normal door, which is kind of cool. Now, at the front, this is called the Stargate. It's 1,000 individual lights, fully customizable, can put whatever you want. And this is the Zeekr Mix. And again, for $38,000, I think this would go crazy in the US. What do you guys think?
I think that US will start producing
$38,000.
this type of cars as soon as Trump promised $17 trillion investments will hit the United States. So wait for it, and then US will start manufacturing fantastic cars.
Right now, Trump is collecting investments for the UFC fight that's on the White House lawn for $1.6 million. You too can have a ticket that is called Investors and have probably not front row seat. It's 4,500 seats, but for $1.6 million, you too can go and watch the UFC fight on the White House lawn. Some of the biggest arguments over the UFC being there is a lot of the fighters turned it down. Majority of them turned it down because they have to be regulated in their fighting, and it would have knocked them out of being able to fight in other tournaments. So it wasn't to their benefit in the long run to even fight there. And I don't think the 1.6 million or the seat tickets are going to go towards paying the fighters, from what I'm told. Again, it's at $1.6 million a seat, according to Trump. And they're called investor tickets.
Well, hopefully they'll use the money to pay down the national debt. Or in this case,
The money's going to go towards the Republican Party and Trump, and probably towards the war they're starting in Albania.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
My beautiful country, Albania. We got to save Albania. I love Albania. This cannot happen to Albania. Ivanka.
Well, we're at time. Hopefully, Mark can start the media show. I'm going to be on clips, and we will see you next week on Economics with the Honorable David M. Walker. Take care.
Until then, take care.
Bye.